Hello, everybody. Welcome back. This is your tropical update for October 9th. This will be the final update, probably, on Hurricane Milton. Currently a Category 4 hurricane. It reached Category 5 intensity earlier last night, actually, once again for the second time, or earlier yesterday, and just was recently downgraded into a Category 4 hurricane once more. As you can see on the latest recon passes, which isn't insanely large font, but you can see the system is beginning to have its pressure rise. And as we'll see in the satellite here now, the system is beginning to experience the effects of shear and dry air onto the system. You can see that the left-hand side of the system has almost completely disintegrated. Nonetheless, the core is still very strong. There's a large amount of rain and a huge amount of storm surge headed for southern Florida as well as Central Florida over the next over the next day or so at this point. So as we can see here, flooding risk will be 6 to 12, isolated at 18. Winds we're looking at 140 miles an hour or greater in those gusts. Likely a major hurricane, probably Category 3 landfall by the time it makes it to Florida. Storm surge going to be 10 to 15 feet. That those highest amounts will be just to the south of the center of the storm. At this point, it looks like it'll hopefully make landfall just south of Tampa, which would be great for Tampa, bad for Charlotte Harbor. And Charlotte Harbor is now looking like it may be one of the highest storm surge areas associated with this storm. Also increased since yesterday is that tornado risk. The Storm Prediction Center now calling for some EF2 tornadoes as well. Of course, be attentive to watches and warnings. Central Florida, almost the entirety of that under hurricane warning. South Florida, tropical storm warning, some hurricane watches. And as we head into northern Florida, as well as portions of Georgia and South Carolina, tropical storm watches and warnings as well. The Bahamas also under a tropical storm warning. The system is going to increase in size. So that's worth noting. You see that large hurricane warning area in a small hurricane field. Hurricane force wind field and a large area of tropical storm force warnings all the way throughout the entire Florida peninsula. That's because the system will continue to increase in size over time. The good news is the rainfall will be relatively concentrated towards the center of the system, although the worst of that will hit the Tampa area. And that will be devastating in and of itself, let alone the storm surge that will still hit that area, even if the center hits south of Tampa Bay. So a lot of rain will occur with the system. We're looking, again, isolated amounts to 18 inches, especially along the immediate coastline. But we could see amounts in excess of a foot all the way into Orlando, Cape Canaveral, and places like that. So continue to be vigilant about those things. Again, the storm surge is a major concern with this from Ana Maria Island all the way down to Boca Grande. We're looking at 10 to 15 feet of storm surge. That'll be the primary area. As you can see here, this is the National Hurricane Center graphic. They do this for every storm. And you can play with some things on this, but this is geared specifically for Hurricane Milton, and it's saying where the largest storm surge will be. So again, using the blue 3 feet, yellow 6 feet, orange 9 feet, and red 12 feet, where will the storm surge most likely occur? And so we see Sarasota definitely in concern, basically everywhere south of Tampa, all the way down, especially in Charlotte Harbor. And then we're also looking at values in the Tampa Bay region, especially along the southern coast of the Tampa Bay, because as that system begins to move inland over Florida, here, I'll do it backwards. That way my hand actually works. As it moves inland over Florida, the winds will then loop back, or as you guys are facing, back around into Tampa Bay, coming basically from the north down to the south, because that's the way that a low pressure system rotates. That's why the south side is so concerning at this point in time. But as it moves into Florida, the winds will now be moving from north to south, and then that will result in a major concern for the southern coast of Tampa Bay. So again, Sarasota, Tampa Bay, Charlotte Harbor, you're the main areas. Cape Coral definitely needs to be watching this. As far south as Naples, we could see significant storm surge, probably not anything too crazy, but the National Hurricane Center calling for some areas to potentially see 5 to 8 feet of storm surge, even south of Charlotte Harbor. Again, even to the north of Tampa Bay itself, 8 to 12 feet after Tampa Bay, north of Clearwater, and places similar in that vicinity. Heading up to Yankeetown, a storm surge warning remains in effect, and even as far south as Flamingo. We're also watching the other side of the Florida coast. That'll be some relatively minor storm surge, but still 35 feet from Sebastian Inlet all the way up to the Altamaha Sound in central Georgia. Winds will be a concern. As I mentioned, that expanding wind field. Again, the system will be weakening in terms of its wind speed. However, the devastating impacts from the system will persist due to both storm surge and rainfall and wind. Again, a large wind field with this system. All of Central Florida expecting tropical storm force winds by the end of the day today. So be prepared for that. Again, stay indoors. We'll talk about how to do that most effectively right now as we talk about the tornado impacts associated with Milton. As I mentioned, some EF2 tornadoes are possible. The Storm Prediction Center highlighting the area between Sarasota and Fort Myers, near and north of Okeechobee, as well as farther to the surrounding areas south of there, south of Tampa, Orlando, and Daytona Beach. Again, Cape Canaveral, Melbourne, Fort Pierre, Naples, Fort Lauderdale, Miami, Marathon, and Key West all need to be watching the system very, very carefully, not just the hurricane itself, but also be attentive to potential tornado warnings that could be issued later today. We have the first of the tornado watches issued due to the storm. You can also see how it looks on radar right now. You can see the eye. You can see those red things coming out on the bands of the storm. Those are actually supercells. And those supercells, like any supercells, can produce devastating tornadoes. And some of them will be EF2 plus, as the storm prediction says, 20% chance of at least one EF2 tornado within this watch box. This watch box taking place from Tampa almost to Melbourne, cuts out Melbourne's county there, down and includes Fort Myers, Naples, Miami, Key West, Marathon Key, places like that. And you need to be watching this. Now, remember, you're also having a hurricane come at you at the same time. So let's be abundantly clear. Just stay inside all day. Stay inside all day. When the warning is issued, though, if you have storm surge or flooding, and say your first floor is flooded or your basement's flooded, there aren't many basements in Florida, but if your normal storm shelter is flooded, continue to go to the lowest level, but not where there's water. Don't go where there's water. If the first floor is flooded, be on the second floor, because that's the safest for the flood. It's like when you have a flood warning and a tornado warning at the same time, where do you go? The flood warning says seek higher ground. The storm surge warning says seek higher ground. The tornado warning says get lower ground. And so, again, be as safe as you can be. Again, get to that interior room if a tornado warning is issued for you. Remember, these tornadoes can just add an additional layer of impacts associated with hurricanes, as I mentioned. There are plenty of evacuations orders in place due to Milton. Again, several counties in Florida, mostly evacuation zones A and B along the central Gulf Coast of Florida, although some counties further from the center are reduced to just mobile homes, and some counties even further from the center or on the opposite coast of Florida are for mobile homes and RVs or low-lying areas, places like that, voluntarily. So just something to be aware of. Again, at this point, it's probably too late to evacuate, so do the best that you can where you are. But, just realize there are a number of evacuations in place at the moment. If you're in an evacuation zone, stay put, get to high ground, and stay safe, please. So a few new records since our last thing. It's the 10th hurricane to become a Category 5 two separate times. It has the second lowest pressure this late in the season at 902 millibars. That was its second peak in intensity. Yesterday, it reached a third peak in intensity of 907 earlier this morning. And again, the record for that second peak, its second lowest pressure, is actually Wilma has the lowest pressure later in the season than this. and the only other storm to do so. That is, of course, the strongest system to ever occur in the Atlantic Ocean. So that's one thing worth noting. Another thing worth noting is I think I'm not for sure on this, but this may be the first system to go below 910 millibars 3 separate times over the course of its life, which is very unusual. IWAL replacement cycles are common, fluctuations in intensity are common, but to get that low several times is very uncommon. As I mentioned, being only the 10th hurricane to become a Category 5 twice. Normally you'll reach it once, have an IRL replacement cycle, and then maybe it'll be a Cat 4 for the rest of its life or something like that. But for it to be Cat 5, 4, and then back to 5 is something worth noting. Anyways, another highlight is ACE. It is now the third season ever with more ACE in the month of October than August and September combined. August and September normally very exciting months for a tropical cyclone formation. Anyways, that's all I have for this update. This is the final update on Hurricane Milton. Most likely, again, it could set another record if it makes landfall as a major hurricane. Stay safe, and I'll be praying for the people in Florida. That's all for now. Chris Dixon, Info Media.